Okay, so the second way to solve this is actually if we consider that these two guys are connected in parallel and we reduce these two into one connection, and based on that we calculate the voltage V2 on that branch, and then from this voltage, if we know this voltage V2, we know this voltage divided by this resistance, we get this current, and the same voltage, because it is parallel to on this resistance, we get this current. Okay, we saw that in the previous way we solved this, we needed three equations. Let's do this using the parallel connection and the voltage divider. Okay, this is from the previous. Alright, so if we reduce these two, this circuit becomes the following. This guy is R2 parallel with R3, and that equals 10 times 40 over their total, which is 50, of course everything in kilo ohms. So on 5 this is 8, so this thing is 8 kilo ohms while this thing is 12 kilo ohms, and of course the source is the same as 48 volts. Now we find I total, which is the same I1, and I1 equals 48 divided over the total resistance, that is 12 plus 8 kilo ohms, equal 2.4 milliamp, just the way we saw it. So since we know the total voltage, the total current, we know now this voltage here, V2, which is the same as this voltage here. Okay, this voltage V2 equals the current that passes through this resistance, this current I1, multiplied by 8. So V2 is 2.4 milliamperes multiplied by 8 kilo ohms. Kilos and amperes leave, kilos and millis leave, and that leaves us with a voltage equal to V2 equal to 19.2 volts. So we know now this is the voltage across this resistance and across this resistance. So what is I2? Maybe I can say here I2 equals the voltage across R2 divided by R2. So it is 19.2 divided by 10 kilo ohms, and that is 1.92 milliamps. And the voltage the current I3 equals the voltage across the resistance R3, that's the same voltage since they are in parallel, over the amount of resistance, which is 40 kilo ohms, and the result is 0.48 milliamperes. And this is consistent with what we did previously. So as you see, we can solve the same problem in different ways. This is much faster. It took some time because I'm explaining some details, but the previous way, sometimes you cannot do things fast. You have just to go by the book and solve it accordingly. See you in a more complicated example.